And welcome into Growth Profits, the show that comes to you live each week outside of Nashville, Tennessee, talking about strategies and ways to grow your business. Today, we're going to talk about the number one thing you need to be doing.
You got to kick your own ass, man.
Stay with us. Hi, folks. I'm Sean Crabtree.
And I'm Cameron Bailey.
We don't want to change the way you do business.
We want to change the way you're thinking about your business.
We want you to have better results, happier clients, and make more money.
Let's get it started.
And welcome back to Growth Profits, the show that is all about you having happier clients, better results, making more money, and enjoying the ride. Today we're going to talk about our favorite subject, kicking your own ass.
Man, kicking your own ass. I got to tell you, I can't take credit for the title of this.
We did steal it.
I stole this title. This is from a book called The Little Red Book of Sales. And you guys that are out there, you should go pick this book up. It's a little small book. The Little Red Book of Sales. Chapter 1 says...
Who wrote The Little Red Book of Sales?
Chapter 1 says, kick your own ass.
Jeffrey Gitomer.
Jeffrey Gitomer wrote the book. It's a great book.
And you know what? You can go to our website at thecrabtreegroup.com, click on good stuff. And when you scroll through all the books, the pictures of the books, and when you see the Little Red Book of Sales, click on that, take you right to Amazon. Boom, you can order it. Little Red Book of Sales. Thank you, Jeffrey Gitomer, for the title of this episode, Kick Your Own Ass. What are we talking about kicking your own ass? And why is this important? Here's what we found in 20 plus years of working with service industry businesses all over North America. Here's what we found.
Entrepreneurs, everybody that we work with. What's the number one thing? What's the number one thing, Sean Crabtree?
You are in your own way. And you got to learn to kick your own ass because you know what? Nobody else is going to. You got to be...
Preach, bro, preach.
You got to be the one to kick your own ass, and we want to give you 3 ways to be able to do that. But again, why is this important? Because at the end of the day, we've seen it, we've heard it, we've read it 1,000 different times. You know what? You and I as entrepreneurs, we're the ones who are in our own way, and the only way to get yourself out of the way is to become adept at kicking your own ass.
As an entrepreneur, you're on an island by yourself many, many, many times, right? So you feel it can be lonely. It can be lonely out there on the island with no water, right? With no food. You're looking like Tom Hanks out there talking to a volleyball. It can be lonely.
Talking to a volleyball.
Yeah. All you got to do, man, you got to figure out what works for you.
It's good when Mr. Producer laughs, you know you scored one.
That's right. Listen, you got to know how to kick your own ass because mama ain't coming, and that's the number one takeaway for this episode.
Well, wait, before we get into that, though, I mean, all kidding aside, this is really important. You and I do this all the time. When we say kick your own ass, the concept is you are in your own way. And this is not a negative thing, like, I got to go beat myself up and kick my own ass. It's not that at all. It's the opposite of that. It's becoming really great at kicking your own ass, challenging sort of the beliefs that are holding you up, questioning things. One of the things that you and I do, like in every situation, anytime I'm speaking or we're with clients or whatever, one of the things that you and I do all the time, inevitably, when we get in a cab or an Uber and we're headed back to a destination, we always take a few minutes to kick our own ass, right?
Yep.
What are the things?
It's fresh.
While it's fresh, what are the things that we could have done differently? What are the things that we could have been better at? How could we have made this the best that it can be?
What worked so that we can repeat it, and what didn't work so that we have an opportunity
to
kick our own ass and figure out what we need to do.
And so before we talk about how to do it, I think it's important to get your mind wrapped around the concept of kicking your own ass. And this is a little bit different than what Gitomer's talking about, but it's the same concept. When we think about kicking your own ass, it's a philosophy. It's a way of life. It's like, it's not about right and wrong. It's not about blame or any of that. Kicking your own ass is always questioning, how could we be better? How could we, how could we take this to the next level? Kicking your own ass is a really healthy kind of thing. Now, what we're talking about here is you are in your own way. And the quicker that you and I realize as entrepreneurs, we're human beings, we are in our own way.
All the time.
All the time. And the quicker we realize that, then the quicker we can start challenging things and getting beyond those things that are holding us back. So becoming great at kicking your own ass is one way to remove yourself from being in your own way. Is that the way you would say it?
That was very, very, very eloquent. The way that you dropped that bomb right there.
If it's one thing I'm
the
good
way
at,
the way I would say
it's
it
kicking
is,
my own ass.
Yeah, you got to get.
I'm an ass kicker of my own ass from way back.
We need to count. We need a dinger on here that says how many times we say "kick our own ass" on this episode. It ought to be ding 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 ding. But here's the number one takeaway right now. If you're
gonna be great, if you're listening
to this,
and you want to be great at kicking,
and you
want
to figure out how you can kick your own ass, you want to figure out what's going to be the catalyst to make you do it. You got to start right here with your mindset. Right, you got to understand.
Let's go over just a little bit, man. We gotta get centered.
I'm trying to get up. I'm trying to get in my area.
We gotta get centered up here.
So
okay. That's
you got to be great at controlling what's going on between your ears, right? And you got to understand, mama ain't coming, your daddy ain't coming, your sister ain't coming. Nobody is coming to help you.
And that's probably one of the most important things. I mean, you and I run into entrepreneurs all the time who have not faced the reality that nobody's coming to the rescue.
It's sitting right here on these shoulders. Right. Everything is sitting right here. Ain't nobody coming to help you.
Right.
What are you going to do? You got to help yourself.
Nobody else cares.
You can't be a little sissy and not kick your own ass. You can. You'll just be broke.
So, if you want to be great at removing yourself from your own way, kicking your own ass. If you want to be great at kicking your own ass, the number one thing is, like Cameron says, realize nobody's coming to the rescue. And you know what? You got to put yourself in the driver's seat before you're willing to challenge maybe beliefs that are holding you back.
Right.
Or, if you've never stepped up and realized, you know what? What is the old saying? If it is meant to be, it is up to me.
That's right.
Mama ain't coming.
That's
right. The government is not going to rescue me.
You are not Ford Motor Credit. Actually, Ford didn't take a bailout. You are not That's GMAC. Right. The government is not going to bail you out.
Nobody's coming for a bailout.
No.
And the only way that you're going to be able to really begin to get past your own comfort zone or some limiting beliefs or things that are holding you back is the number one way. You got to realize it's up to you. It's up to you. Put yourself in the driver's seat.
You know what I say?
With that mindset, now you have a way. What do you say?
If somebody else can do it, well, damn it, so can I.
Right.
If somebody else can figure out how to do it and be successful, either in the industry that I'm in or in an industry that I want to be in, if somebody else can figure it out, so can I. But I've got to kick my own ass to be able to do that. It
may sound trite, but what you're talking about right now, I think, is a realization that any of us as entrepreneurs have to get to that place. To be able to put yourself in the driver's seat, like what we're talking about here, you got to realize if somebody else has done it, I can do it too. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I see her as I used to be the same way. She feels like she's not good at math or whatever. She's a straight A student. She's in honors and all that stuff.
You were a straight A student?
No, I wasn't. But she is, right? She's got enough of her mama.
Oh, okay.
But the point is, she looks at somebody who's, she thinks that, hey, if somebody's, great at volleyball or good at math or somebody's this or that or the other thing, she looks at it like, hey, they have something that I don't have. Right. And that's not true.
Right.
It's not true. I mean, listen, if you take, what's the golfer from Texas?
Jordan Spieth?
Jordan Spieth.
Spieth.
TH.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, now Jordan Spieth is a great golfer.
He's a baller.
He is a baller when it comes to golf. But you know what? The human body is the human body, and he doesn't have any gifts that you and I don't have. If we learn to hit the ball with the swing and the grip and the stance exactly the same way that Jordan Spieth does it, you and I could be that great too. If we wanted to dedicate the same amount of time, effort, and energy that he's done, we could too. Now, I personally don't want to do that. But the point is, if you wanted to, you could.
If somebody else can
you got to put yourself number one.
And if you don't believe that, then you're dead in the water.
You're dead in the water right out of the chute,
yeah.
right? if you're going to become great at kicking your own ass, you got to, rule number one, you got to realize nobody's coming to your rescue. You got to put yourself in the driver's seat. What's number two, bro? And that's what we're talking about here, by the way, is getting you out of your way.
What I say when
kicking your own ass.
What I say when I walked in here this morning, Mr. Producer? I said, today I will be what? A badass. Because I believe that somebody else.
And then when everybody laughed,
yeah.
And then he got serious.
No, because if somebody else can do it, I can do it too.
Just kidding.
All right, number two. The number two takeaway. Number one, mama ain't coming. Change your mindset. Change what's going on. Change what's going on between your ears. Number two, stop pointing fingers. Stop pointing fingers at people. This one did that, or the economy's that, or I can't do this because. Stop pointing the finger, man. It doesn't do you any good. Stop it.
We have an entrepreneur in a particular state that we'll not mention, who is the king of this. I mean, his whole life is pointing fingers at all the reasons why he's not successful. You know, if you're realizing that number one, we talked about putting yourself in the driver's seat. Nobody's coming to rescue you. Number two is quit pointing the finger. You don't have bad clients, okay? You know, who cares that you live in what is it he said? The second worst congressional district in the state or whatever.
I don't listen to that crap.
Listen, if you are going to point the fingers at all the reasons why you're not going to be successful, you are not only not kicking your own ass, you are not going to be successful. You will ultimately fulfill that dream that you have, which is living in this place of, here's all the reasons why. Because I got sucky clients, because nobody in my area's got money, because I live in the worst congressional district in the state, because whatever. You know what?
We worked with a client. Remember that? We worked with a client for, it was years ago. We worked with an entrepreneur, a client, and this guy could never get it together. He could never seem to get his business to run the way that it was capable of running. And when you talk to him, because
he wasn't kicking his own ass.
Well, it's because he was pointing the finger at everything else.
Specifically, yes.
Yeah, this guy had gone through a divorce, and he felt like that divorce had controlled his life for the last 10 years. Right? The divorce is just killing his business. Well, you're killing your business. You're killing your business because you're allowing the divorce to affect you, brother.
Listen.
Get your head right, man.
If you are walking around thinking a divorce or the demographics.
The economy.
Or the economy.
The bank.
Or you know what?
I can't get a bank loan. Or
Jim Rohn used to say, at the end of the day, all of those things have no control over your business. All they do is expose the fact that you basically have been living in excuses your entire life. And those things are just exposing it, right?
The amount of time it takes to point the finger at something else, you could be spending that time finding a solution.
One of the things that I think is interesting is when you and I find people like that who are living in that finger-pointing mentality, and they're pointing the fingers at all the reasons why they're not successful. Somebody across the street is kicking their ass. And when you say,
guy down the street's just getting rich.
And when you say, hey, what about this other guy?
Oh,
now we get ready for a whole truckload of
he's doing something illegal.
All kind of excuses. He's got this and he's got that and he's got that.
Well, if I had his team, Sean, I would be kicking ass too. Come on,
get yourself out of your own way. Learn to kick your own ass. Number one, realize.
And one more thing. If I'm pointing fingers, if I'm trying to learn to kick my own ass and I can't do it myself, I got to find somebody to do it for me. Right? I got to find somebody that will do it for me. You need somebody that's going to hold me accountable.
And we can do that, by the way.
We can do that. Or you can go find your aunt, your uncle, your cousin and say, listen.
Yeah.
Here's where I want to go. Here's my direction. Hold me accountable.
Listen, you're totally right. But at the end of the day, I still have to be willing to kick my own ass, or at least be willing to have my ass kicked. Right? I still have to adopt these three things. And that's what we're talking about. Number one, you got to realize nobody's coming to the rescue. Put yourself in the driver's seat. Number two,
ain't coming.
Number two, stop finger pointing. You're not sucking because you got bad clients or a terrible location or the economy or all this other stuff. You're sucking because that's why you're sucking. And the number 3 biggest thing, and I think this is one that we run into quite a bit. You got to write it down, man. Now, number 3 is not going to help you unless you got number 1 and number 2. You have to put yourself in the driver's seat to be able to come up with, hey, I've got to own the responsibility of my success, or writing goals down is not going to mean a thing in the world to me, right?
Right.
Number 2, I got to stop making excuses and pointing fingers. If I'm willing to live in those 2 places, number 3 thing is you got to write the stuff down every day. What is it that you want to accomplish? If I'm you, I'm going to write down, where is it I want to go, big picture. Mm-hmm. And then what does that look like for me today? What am I doing today? And one of the things that you and I talk about a lot is when you write that down, you got to go to the next step and go, what is the action step that I'm going to take at this moment, first thing right out of the chute, that's going to move me toward that?
I was talking to an entrepreneur last week. This guy's got a multi-million-dollar business. Multi-million-dollar business. And he ain't got a freaking clue about where he wants to go and what his goals are. Mm. What are your goals? I don't know. Mm. Never thought about it. Then what the heck are we doing here? Why do you get up in the morning and go to this business and try to take the pressure and the anguish and the challenge of owning a business and take that on yourself if you've got no direction of where you want to go? You got no idea.
Yeah.
You got to write it down, man. Yeah. You got to get with your spouse. You got to get with whoever you need to get with and figure out, what are we doing? Because that's going to be the thing that's going to be able to make you get motivated to kick your own ass.
So here's the biggest story, and this just came up with you and I in the last week.
Yeah.
We got contacted by an entrepreneur a couple weeks ago who is looking for some help, and so he's wanting us to get involved, which we're happy to do. It's a great guy, great team,
business.
Great business, really great business. He's ready to take this thing to the next level. He's not fine-tuned the art of these 3 things that we're talking about. Number 1, he doesn't have goals. He has this fuzzy idea of this culture that he wants to create, but there's no tangible thing that he's written down. Now, in terms of the number 1 thing we talked about, kicking your own ass, right? Realizing that you got to put yourself in the driver's seat. He basically had handed the entire business over to this one person. He's in there doing the work, making it churning, killing himself. Killing himself. He's working 6.5 days a week.
Just grinding, man.
Grinding it out. And turning all the... He's not realized that he got no goals. He doesn't realize that he's the one in the driver's seat. He's just basically had blinders on, working 6.5 days a week, turning the business over to this one person. And this person is telling him, hey, we don't have money for this, we don't have money for that. You got to work more. So he's working 6.5 days a week, to the tune of, when he reached out to us, he's like, guys, I just can't keep doing this anymore. I'm killing myself. I'm not even 35 years old. And I never leave the house. I don't have a vacation. I never do
I'm losing
anything.
Money. He ain't got no money for no vacation, man. He ain't got no money for no vacation.
I don't ever see my family. This is a horrible, horrible situation. Well, tell him the rest of the story. Once we find out, remember, he's turning all this over to one person.
Well, he turned it all over to one person. We talked about this in our last episode. Nobody's going to watch your back and your money like you are, right? So when you turn something over with your business to an office manager or to somebody in the business and just turn a blind eye with no tracking, with no accountability,
you're inevitably breaking the number 1 thing we talked about. You're not putting yourself in the driver's seat. And instead of kicking your own ass, right, you just hunkered down, working, which is exactly what he was doing.
And taking your mind off of it. I'm not saying don't turn your stuff over to somebody in your business to take ownership of, but realize you got checks and balances, accountability,
right?
Or else you're going to get took. And that's what happened.
Nobody's going to come to your rescue. And that's what happened to this guy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he is in a real mess. He's in a mess with the IRS. He's in a mess with a whole bunch of other situations that he was totally, completely oblivious of. And now, inside of a week, it has exploded. And he is in a hell of a mess simply because he didn't put himself in the driver's seat, blindly turned it over to somebody else. He's not looking at him as the one to be able. He's looking at, hey, I just need to hunker down and work.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. So you got to get clear on where you're trying to go. You got to get clear about what role you play, what you need from the people around you. You got to write that down. And before you take any, get out of bed that morning, you got to figure out what is the action step I'm going to take this morning to move me toward that goal. And that's how you kick your own ass at the end of the day. Get yourself out of your own way and become great at kicking your own ass.
Change your mindset. Change your mindset. Step 1, change your mindset. Get what's going on between your ears.
Put yourself in the driver's seat and nobody's coming to the rescue. Number 2.
Stop pointing fingers. Stop looking around at everything else that you think is controlling your business. Who's driving this thing? You're driving this thing. If it ain't working,
it's you.
It's you.
And number 3.
Write down. Get very clear about where it is you want to go and what it is you want. I'm talking about crystal clear. You got to have the number down to the penny, how it looks every month, how it looks every day, how it looks in 12 months.
It doesn't matter if it's exactly right or wrong. What matters is you have something that you're shooting for.
And it doesn't matter if it's big. It should scare you. It should be so big it should scare you. Because if it doesn't scare you, you ain't going to figure out a way to do it.
Right. And then figure out what you're going to what needs to happen on a daily basis and what action step. Don't leave that every morning. What's the action step that you're going to take that day to move you toward that? Are we hitting it, Mr. Producer?
Y'all are hitting it.
So, it's about kicking your own ass. You are in a service business.
You got to serve.
As an entrepreneur, you are one of about 8% of the United States population in America. It's
the few
tough.
and the proud.
And the proud. And you know what? Learning to kick your own ass to remove yourself from your own way is probably one of the number one skills that you need to master. And so that's why we're talking about it today, because at the end of the day, it's all about you having happier clients, better results, making more money. And it's also about enjoying the ride. Thanks for joining us. If you like this, you can invite people to our group. This is a closed group, but if you'd like to invite people to the group, please do that. Share it. You can find us at iTunes and anywhere you'd like to listen to podcasts.
Go to thecrabtreegroup.com, thecrabtreegroup.com if you want to reach out to us, contact us. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to talk. If you need somebody to help you kick your ass, I'll help you. Give me a call. I'll help you do that.
This has been Growth Profits, where we come to you every single week outside Nashville, Tennessee, with all sorts of strategies for you to have happier clients, better results, make more money, and enjoy the ride. We'll see you next week.